Hey, what's up, fam? Welcome back again to Recap Kickback. It's me, your host, Chappelle, and I am here to talk about another movie here on Recap Kickback, something from Amazon Prime. We got a new Viola Davis joint, and with me, of course, to talk about that, as usual, Mari. Mari, welcome back.
Yes, I'm glad to be back. Um, we're about to talk about one of my favorite actresses, like kicking butt and taking names. Like, this is gonna be fun.
And it's going to be extremely fun because we
Mhm.
have a special guest. Mari, we have a gent making sense. Hopefully, he's going to make some
Yes,
sense today.
it's a
Mari, why
family
don't you
affair.
introduce? Yeah, why don't you introduce everybody to our guest here? Because if they haven't been keeping up with crime scene, first of all, if you haven't been keeping up with crime scene, what are you doing? Go
What are you
subscribe.
doing?
You got
Yes.
to support the whole family, okay? So crime scene, just making sense. You got to support us all. But Mari, tell us who our guest is.
Yes, our guest today is my wonderful father, Tony, dad. I'll be going back and forth calling him that. How are you? Thank you for coming to Recap Kickback.
I'm great.
Hey.
I'm great. I've subscribed to Recap Kickback. I've seen a lot of episodes and everything. I
Yeah.
enjoy your show, and it's just a great honor to be here with y'all. I told Chappelle earlier, I feel like I know him and I've never met him. So,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
He was with us through the trenches, Chappelle, when we were to connect. He
I
was into our
remember.
snowfall coverage. He loved our snowfall coverage.
Yeah, we've been fighting for our life
yeah.
for a long time. It's good to have you here, Tony.
Well, I know how it feels because it just making sense. That's where we are right now, fighting for our life.
hmm
You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
that's how it goes. Tell everybody a little bit about Gents Making Sense. Guys, I am subscribed, and I did enjoy your HBCU episode recently.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for subscribing. Gents Making Sense is an idea we came up with, me and about 10 guys from the DC area that we served in the military together. Only about two of us make it every week, but what we want to do is something like a barbershop conversation. We didn't want it to be scripted. We want to have insightful titles about black things that made a difference in the black community and everything. And we just wanted to talk about stuff. And we didn't want it to be scripted. So and we just got on and we just start talking and we come up with a different episode every week. We have special guests. We're going to do a book guest next week. One of the guys that we work with from the White House, he works at the White House. He has a book from the outhouse to the White House, and we're going to do that review. So I would love for all your audience to come by and just check us out and everything.
Yeah, y'all
Yes.
heard it here. You got to go check out the Gents Making Sense over on YouTube. We'll make sure to put the link in our show notes as well. So, Mari, this is where you got the podcast and Gene. This is the reason why you talk too much.
Uh,
No,
no,
no.
absolutely not. You have not met my mom.
There you go. There you go.
So no, yeah, but yeah, so I'm so glad to have you on here, Dad. Like Chappelle said, if you haven't been keeping up, Dad came on Crime Scene with me and Sarah Carradine,
Mm-hmm.
and we talked about surviving Black Hawk Down. It's a Netflix. Was it? It was a documentary. It wasn't a documentary. It was a
Documentary.
documentary on
Mhm.
the Battle of Mogadishu, also known as like the Black Hawk Down incident, and we had so much fun. It's one of our favorite episodes. Sarah said hi, Dad, and
Oh, thank
she
you.
said it was
Oh,
she was so happy to have you, and it was one of our favorite episodes. It was really good. So if you haven't
okay.
checked that out, you can go to Crime Scene Pod. That's crime SEEN pod.com in order to subscribe, and you can find my dad's episode. Hopefully, we'll link it here in the show notes as well. But so glad to have you back, and back over to have you over here on the Recap
Okay.
Kickback, where we talk about whatever we want. And
Yeah.
this week we gonna talk about our girl Viola Davis. Okay, all
Good.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I got the text message from Mari said that you would be our guest. So had you already watched it or did you see it? What made you decide that this is how you're going to come join us? Because we could have used you a dozen times prior to this, but you
Yeah.
making this one your entrance point.
This
What
this
is it
one
about this
really
movie?
interests me because Mari and I had talked about it, and I like y'all. I'm a big Viola fan, and it had to do with the government. Anything that has to do with the government, I really like because I've worked at the highest level of government and everything. and I kind of know how things supposed to go. And when I look at movies, I look at movies like that. I look at authenticity, and that's what I really look at. Are they making this show to be real? Like, and so when she said, "Yeah, what maybe you come in," I was like, "Yeah, let's go, let's do it." I was ready to jump on it because just like the Black Hawk Down show had to do with the military, so it's something I know about and don't mind talking about.
Yeah. I did not have this on my radar. I saw one thing on Instagram where somebody says, "Hey, I saw this movie and nobody's talking about it and it's really good." So I felt like with Mari saying we're going to talk about it, and with that, I said, "Okay, I'll check it out to see what happened." I think my mom had told me that she watched it or something like that, but I hadn't heard a lot. And so I was like, "Okay." I went in completely blind, not knowing what I was getting. Mari, I was pleasantly surprised at Viola Davis, the action star.
Yeah,
I know, like, Black woman president, check. She's like fighting terrorists, Die Hard style, check. It was when I first heard about it, again, I was like, yes, we gotta cover it. And I feel like since it came out, because it just came out last week, so it's only a few days removed, and I've been hearing a lot of good things about it. So I'm very glad that we're on the ball. It's fresh. It's not something we found out 20 years later like normal. Chappelle. So.
Yeah.
And I think Viola Davis did a great job. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. I've talked to some people too, and everybody said they loved it too. I wanted to see what they thought about it, because I like other people's opinion too. Mari and I go back and forth about movies and shows all the time. So now she did get that from me. That part she got. Talking about, yeah, because I like movies and I like looking at shows like that. And Violet, when I first heard that she was going to be the star and all the action stuff, I kind of got a picture in my mind. What would that look like? And they made it come off very well, very realistic too. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't think I've ever seen her in another action role. I know she's been in them. I mean, she was in the Justice League movie, but she wasn't doing nearly the fighting that she was doing.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, Suicide Squad. Yeah. So this was the first time I ever saw Viola Davis in action, and I enjoyed it. I was very taken with the cast in general. Viola Davis as our leading lady, the president of the United States, Danielle Sutton. She is kicking butt and taking names in this entire thing. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Like, it was so fun watching her with the bulletproof vest on. I wonder who did her stunts. Like, if she does her own stunts, that would be crazy.
I'm trying to look it up right now. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Just trying to do that. It's like,
I was wondering the same thing. And if she did, and they did a very good job of covering it up, really. You know?
Yeah, it was good. Now, as far as like authenticity, there was a lot of this that we're like, okay, it's an action movie. You can suspend belief for some of it. The fact that they're able to get all of these global leaders in this big fortress, and all the security, and then just because there's a little leak on the inside, they're able to shut it all down and hold these people hostage. Not the most believable story, but that's not what we're going for here. We were going for the action, and I thought it delivered. What about you, Tony?
Yeah, same here. A matter of fact, it caught me a little off guard because the action started in minute 5 or 3. It started right at the beginning. Action right at the beginning. It just kept going, And I was looking at how the movie was progressing, and it was just progressing so fast. I mean, there was not any downtime there at all. And as far as authenticity, help me with that.
Authenticity. Yeah, there you go. You got it.
As far as that is concerned, the way that she was treated as the president of the United States was pretty authentic. There were some things that the normal people wouldn't know, like when they drive up to the White House, they never drive up with the left side of the door at the White House. It always got to be the right side because it's the position of honor. So little stuff like that. And the way she had a lead Secret Service guy, but normally she travels in a diamond formation, so it's some more people around her, and they had a lot less people around her. She would never got caught in a room with that many people with just one Secret Service guy. It would have never happened that way. But it did, and like you said, I just don't know how because they had some inside help, they could still get in a fortress like that, and then turn off,
Mm.
and then get all the electricity and control of all the cameras and everything. You know.
Yeah, it was a coordinated strike. So I guess
Mhm.
the goal here is that we have our president, we have
Mhm.
Danielle Sutton, and she is a military vet turned president, and she is trying to solve world hunger, something that all the rest of the presidents have just decided not to do, I guess, to this point.
Yeah.
No, thank
Yeah.
you.
So Mara, she's got it all figured out. She said, we'll just get everybody in the room, and we're gonna talk it out, and we're gonna try to help the people who cannot help themselves. And this apparently is a very radical idea because it is going to be the reason why all these people are held hostage and at gunpoint. What did you think about this plan in general, Mari?
So, okay, I was like, okay, so we're gonna solve world hunger by giving farmers money, but to give them money to store supplies. I was like, okay, great. But then once I got into the crypto of it all, it's like I don't know what it is. My brain is just like
Right, it's
crypto,
made up.
shut it off. It's like
Yeah.
shut it all down.
It's make
Shut it all
believe.
down. I don't know what's going on. but like basically it's like she try it, what it sounded like to me is like, let's use our money to spread the wealth to like help some of the poorest people and or whatever. But then it sounded like it was like, oh no, but they're making their own money. I was so confused. But at the root of it, I was like, okay, she is trying to do something good. You know what I'm saying? And something philanthropic and yeah, and so I was like, okay, this is a good thing. Everybody should be down. What's up? And then the bad guy comes, and
that's when I knew. When the moment she wants to do something good for somebody, I was like, okay, and that's going to be the problem. You know, nobody actually wants to help anybody these days, Tony. It's not like that.
They don't want nobody to do nothing good at all. They want. I don't know if I can say this on your show, but they want.
You can say everything on my show.
Okay, good. They want a Donald Trump type. They want somebody that's gonna be evil. That's what they want and everything. But the thing about the storyline, it got really good once the two people got together in the same room. You know, the evil guy and her, they got in the same room, and you saw the connection there. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. So this probably would be easy. You know, this would be a quick story to tell probably. But Mari, there's one other aspect that we have to talk about that's very important. And it is that Viola Davis has a family. You know, this is the thing that anytime a woman is running in politics or something like that, it's like, is she going to be a good mother? If she can't take care of her family, then how is she going to do this? And Tony, she got a teenage daughter, and you know how it is. Am I right?
Wait,
teenage
what?
girls, you know what I'm saying?
Teenage girl,
you know how they be.
Not at all. Well, it's current ones. There you go.
They want to do their own thing, you know. They want to do it, and I think that was authentic also when father played referee. With mom and daughter. I've done that a few times, you know. So I think
you got to raise 3 girls.
I think the family dynamics were very realistic, and I was like you, how is she gonna pull? How the producer and the director gonna pull this off and make it feel real with her being a president, a black president no less, and having a family. And I think they did a very good job of showing family dynamics, and they didn't make them look like the Huxtables and stuff, you know. Nothing wrong with the Huxtables, but but what I'm saying is they had real problems other than moral problems, you know. So.
And when Marseille strolled in, I was like, did I know she was going to be here? Because
right.
I don't know who she was going to be here.
Yeah, I was looking at the when they go around and talk on the talk show hosts and talk show stuff. Yeah. So she went on the rounds with Anthony Anderson on a lot of the rounds and stuff.
So I think I knew her, but when he walked in, I was like, oh, I definitely did not know that he was gonna be here. Like, like, oh, look at them together. That's so cute.
They reunited Blackish. You know, they have Marseille Martin and her TV dad, and now Anthony Anderson is playing the first gentleman. Mari, I don't think I've ever seen Anthony Anderson in a role like this either. What did you think about him? Kind of in like, he's almost like the leading man in an action movie, almost.
Yeah,
pretty close.
I thought that was, again, I was like, oh, you're here, and he did a pretty good job. Like, he wasn't there for like comedic fodder.
Right, right.
And like Dad said, it wasn't like he was like a bumbling husband or anything like that. He was a great support system for her. And some could argue maybe her greatest weakness, because she just kept giving in every time they kept beating him up. I was like, I get it, but also, should you be doing this? But also, it wasn't too bad.
And that's a good point, because that wouldn't happen that way.
Right.
Now, Tony, are you sure? Because I know they're not supposed to give up. Like when you're not supposed to negotiate with terrorists, not supposed to do all that stuff. But in every movie I've seen, I've never seen the president be like, "All right, bye, family." You know what I'm saying? Like, "All right, peace out."
Yeah. No, I think in that situation, because there were so many lives involved and everything, and because I really don't think she knew exactly what the status of her kids was, and I think that's why she gave in. You know, there was more things involved than just her husband, and the part about the one thing they had organized and they showed it was if anything ever happens to this, I run to the kids and you take care of everything else. You remember he said that. Anthony Anderson said that this was the plan all the time. I got to go find the kids. So it was good that they put that in there.
And because he did, he was out of harm's way for the most part. And like you said, she also knew that they weren't gonna do anything to her. You know what I'm saying? They needed her. They needed her, so they couldn't kill her, but they could easily kill her family. So I understood why she kind of gave in. Chappelle, I really want to hear you explain this the deep fake of it all.
Ooh, yeah. So let's get there. So they have to go to this G20 summit in South Africa. They go to Cape Town and they're all in this big fortress. And this fortress is supposed to be super secure because it has 20 of the world's leaders here. So this should be the most secure location that ever existed. You know, like everybody here got a security detail that has a security detail. And so they get there, and very, very early on, we see there's a breach. And the breach is coming from inside. There's a guy named Rutledge, who's Australian, and he has apparently been working with her Secret Service agent, who has been giving him intel on how to take this place hostage. So, of course, they do. They end up rounding up most of the world leaders, and Viola Davis and several other, I think like 2 or 3 other people managed to get away. But with the 18 people who did not, the 18 world leaders who did not do this, they needed them to say a pangram and to the camera, because this, I thought this was so fascinating, because, you know, we got to the point where AI is just something we can't ignore anymore, right? If this was 20 years ago, we'd be like, oh, this is make-believe. But honestly, deepfake technology is real. It's very real. And so what they end up doing is having them recite this phrase. Now, Mari, have you ever heard this phrase before?
Yes. And I was trying to call back to when we covered Deepfake Love on Netflix. It is kind of well known that this is the phrase that you need them to say in order to get all the facial movement,
to get all the sounds right. So it's one of those words that has every letter in it, but it also has every sound in it. And so so by the end of it, you can, like, there's not a word you can't fake. And so they end up having each of them do this so that they can pretend as if the world leaders have been, like, a video has leaked and the world leaders have all been conspiring. This is all a big scam to take money from the citizens and to seize it for themselves. Tony, I thought this was absurd. You know, like, don't get me wrong. I think that there is a part of, you know, being kind of like, I guess, poor or whatever, or like lower middle class. That's where I'm living. You know, where you have an inherent mistrust for people taking your money. You don't want, because you know that the rich are getting rich and they're staying rich, and the poor are fighting for what we have. And so they're using this to weaponize it against everybody and say, no, these rich people are taking your money and they're hoarding it. They want they want to keep your money. And so what we want you to do is we want you to go invest in Bitcoin. That'll do it. That'll show them. I just thought this was crazy. If somebody tells me to invest in Bitcoin, the answer is always no.
Yeah. You know, if it wasn't, like you said, 10, 20 years ago, the people would say this is crazy. This storyline is crazy. But all the things that go on here and the, you know, it just kind of falls in line. In South Africa, Elon Musk, you know, Donald Trump telling the world that he he's gonna do this, and the stock market goes down and Bitcoins go up. So we kind of see that in real life, and we see it as that it's done. I can kind of see that. I just I never got that digital wallet thing.
Yeah.
I never really. I know it shows numbers, but
Okay.
I can
Let me see if I can explain this based on the fact that I watched the biggest heist on Crime Scene. Like Crime Scene is coming in clutch for me today.
Okay.
So in the documentary about the biggest heist, this couple, they essentially stole money from people's Bitcoin accounts by like hacking into Bitcoin accounts and then depositing the money all into their Bitcoin wallet. The thing about crypto and cryptocurrency, they're all on a blockchain. And so whenever anybody makes a transaction like in the world, you can see the transaction. The whole thing about crypto is it's transparent, basically. But the kind of problem is these people, they stole like like $5 million worth of Bitcoin at the time, that then turned into like $1 billion or so worth of Bitcoin, and it was sitting in the wallet. And your wallet, that is like your Bitcoin bank. Like that, if you have access to that wallet, thing? It's a real thing. Now, it's not, I don't know if they can.
Yeah, it's not a device that you can walk around with.
Yeah, they kind of needed something to kind of like.
Why would you walk around with it?
Yeah, normally I think regular people just log on to their computer and they see the wallet, the number in their wallet.
Okay.
But the thing about the wallet is, again, everybody can see every transaction. So if you're trying to turn that Bitcoin money into real money, like you have to go through an exchange and all of this stuff. But the people who had stole the Bitcoin, because they stole it, everybody could see that they stole it, and they could see which account it was. And so the FBI were watching this account. They're like, the moment that they try and take money out of this account, we're going to know who stole this stuff and we're going to go after them. So basically these people stole all this money and it had to just sit there because they couldn't get to it without telling people where they at. So the wallet thing is true. And his wallet, from what I was understanding, again, I think this is what happened in this movie.
Okay.
When he was telling everybody like, hey, your politicians are there. He said it to her. He's like, you're taking our money and using it on poor people in Africa instead of Americans. I was like, that was a good dog whistle there, you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's telling people like, if you want to like boycott that, take your money out of the banks. That way they, the economy crashes. And then he was saying invest in Bitcoin. Even though he was saying invest in Bitcoin, they were saying that he was shorting the currencies. So what he was doing, it's kind of like what happened with like GameStop or something like that. He had put money into shorting, saying that the dollar, whatever the currencies are going to crash. So as long as those currencies were crashing, he was making money. Yeah. I don't think he was making direct money he wasn't making direct money from people like taking their money into Bitcoin and like giving it to him. It was just the simple fact of them taking their money and crashing the markets, right, which he had saw coming, that he was making the money. But of course he was making it in Bitcoin. He was still making it in Bitcoin. So it was very like interesting. I was like, oh, okay. Like it was like, I thought it was kind of cool because they're trying to like stay with the times. You know what I'm saying? They're trying. There was at least 8 times I turned to James. I was like, is this like Die Hard? I can't tell. I was like, is this Die Hard with fake money? I was like, okay, this isn't Die Hard anymore. Like at one point I told him, I was like, I don't think this is Die Hard anymore. He was like, no. So it's a very interesting plot. I don't want to say it's convoluted because I think I got it. If I would have watched it a second time, I think I really, really would have nailed it. But I do like they're trying to like update for modern times. And it wasn't just a typical action movie. And that whole AI thing of it, like the South Korean president clocked immediately. He's like, don't say it. It's for AI. They're going to make us say everything. And I thought that was so interesting. Like normally they take the people hostage and they're hostages, but they took them hostage to make them say that phrase. So it was interesting. I liked it.
Yeah. They were trying to take the world hostage, you know, so they needed the world leaders to do the thing so that they could capitalize on it. Mari, I will push back about one thing. You did not talk about the biggest heist ever on Crime Scene.
I think I did a mini review.
That was on recapkickback.com.
No, it wasn't. Was it?
Yes, it was. We talked about the biggest heist.
I probably like, too much.
No.
I do remember telling you to watch it too.
Yeah, because remember that lady was rapping, and I was like, no, white lady, stop. But you're right. The as convoluted as it sounds, they had a goal, and it was just to get people to take their money out of the bank and crash the dollar, and whatever that meant, whether it's the American dollar or all these other currencies, and it was working. But again, this is not about that. This is about Viola Davis, the action star, and so she is going to work.
It's not about Homelander. We didn't even tell people it was Homelander.
Well, you know, I was like, I don't know this man, and then now that you mention it, it is definitely Homelander.
You didn't know?
Yeah,
okay, James had to tell me,
but I forgot that was who that was. I was there you go. But yeah, Viola Davis, she's on the way out. They have to get to the Beast. Now, Tony, I'm glad you're here. The Beast is her military grade limousine that is in the in the basement. In the basement garage. Tony, is the Beast real?
The Beast is very much real.
Ooh, okay.
Very much real. I've seen it up close.
You see the Beast?
Never been in it. I've met at least 2 presidents and seen at least 3. So the Beast, I've been near it. Never been in it, but I know most of the specs on it that's not classified. They got some that's never released. They got some that's speculative and everything. So the Beast is a big car with big wheels, run flat tires. You know, we got run flat tires on regular cars. So these are run flat tires on steroids here. And it's armor plated, and it's supposed to keep out certain grades of armor also, as far as shoulder grenade launchers and stuff. So it's a real thing. And once they got in it, not only could they get to comm, which they could communicate with the outside world, because it's got a world-class comm system that's monitored 24/7. Not only does it have that, but it has a lot of, and I didn't understand why they didn't use some of the specifications on the car, because it also has like flares and stuff where you can where we call them let me see if I can get the right word for it. It's a deterrence. When people are shooting at you, you can put up flares and stuff and make them think something is really there when it's not there. You know.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
No, so I think the Prime Minister of England didn't know that. Yeah,
they didn't show that capability in there. I don't know how accessible it would have been sitting in a garage like that. I don't know about that. Yeah, it was pretty accessible.
They got to
and they don't park it like that without the other car. They usually park them in a line or in a row ready to go. They don't park them individually
in like a parking spot.
I was looking at that. I was like, huh?
Would it have survived that flip that they did?
Oh yeah, and that missile.
Yeah, it's armor. It's heavy. It's really heavy. It's like a tank, a tricked out tank. That's what it is. A tricked out tank. It's really heavy.
I like the Beast. I like this. I like this as a plot device, because that was their whole thing. It's like, if we could get to the Beast, then we can get out of here. But we had to see her kind of put on her action hero cape to get this done. Mari, she goes down the elevator shaft. She does like all the typical action movie stuff.
Yeah.
She's freeing hostages. She's fighting the big like henchmen. She's killing people left and right. Mari, she even had some assistants. we found the Wakandans.
The Wakandans.
Exactly.
I promise you, when they came out of nowhere, and Marseille was like, "Are y'all from Wakanda?" I was like, "Wait, who are these people?" James was like, "It was the hostages for the kitchen." What were you doing? I was like, "I saw the hostages from the kitchen. I didn't know that they could do this."
Yeah, exactly.
All of a sudden, like the woman was doing some real Dora Milaje stuff. She was taking people down. The guy
that was really funny. It was
so good.
Yeah, I like that part. Yeah. And the lady, the first lady from what was it, China or Japan?
It was the
South Korea.
South Korea
She
first lady.
She was a trooper, man. I'm telling you, she was a trooper. And
everybody was helpful except for the British Prime Minister.
Exactly.
He's the only one who was kind of slowing them down.
There's always one. There's
always British. And they always British.
Please don't. Dude, we pissed him off the last time. Don't do this.
Oh God. I'm joking. Okay. Dang. Colonizers, dang. So anyway,
we love it.
Yeah, we love it. So now the hostage guy, when Viola Davis is fighting, he takes the knife and he throws it. And I was like, wait, how come the hostage can do that? And I thought, we're not gonna talk about that. And so she goes to him and says, Y'all got some training. What's going on? It turns out that they're like planted there as like so they can in case something like this happens, they can spring into action. And so it was perfect. It worked out. And so they had backup going into the next phase when they had to get to the garage. Now, Tony, when they get to the garage, this is the part that you were kind of talking about. By now, her husband has been taken hostage. The son and daughter, they're on their own escape mission, but the husband has been taken hostage and he's held at gunpoint. And she's kind of talking to him through the phone. And he's telling her, the kids are safe, but it's also, there was a guy on the inside, it was Darden the whole time. And then they start to torture him. They start beating him up while she's on the phone to get her to give away her whereabouts. So you're saying that protocol is that she just be like, nah.
Protocol is she can't give up herself because she's the most important person in the country. And she just can't. And that's why her security guy was with. I'm gonna go back to something that I forgot to tell you. The beast wouldn't have been there by itself. There's always at least two beasts together. There's always
got a backup beast.
There's always two, because when they're if you notice in a presidential motorcade, there's always two beasts.
Right, because you don't need to know which one.
You don't know which car he gets in. You think you know which car he gets in. Just like when the helicopter comes to land at the White House, there's always two helicopters.
Ooh.
Always. And when I flew with the Secretary of the Air Force, we had two helicopters. We both took off at the same time, and we both went the same way. All of a sudden, one disappeared. That's it. You like, where'd it go?
Yeah.
And it's out there waiting somewhere. And then when we get ready to land, it comes back. So you never know which one is which. So those are little things that, that was missing because there would have been at least two beasts down there and at least 2 or 3 Suburbans together, So
yeah, her Secret Service agent Manny, he was very frustrated with her throughout this movie.
Exactly.
He was sick of her because he's like, "Why? You know the rules. You know we can't do this stuff."
Exactly.
Look at this lady. If she gave herself up, I'd have been so mad.
I would have been mad too. He first off, that was Will Trent. I was like, why there are so many cameos in this movie? Like, go ahead with your pass out. But he was so mad. He took a bullet. He threw himself out of the beast. But I was like, stay in the beast. Like, what are you doing?
No, he threw himself out of the beast. He got to go
like,
back.
I had to stick with her. Yeah.
He has to go back. So
would anybody fault him if he didn't go back though? I mean, she tried to get so here's the thing. When he gets to her, he saves her again because she's about to get taken out by her the insider secret agent guy. And Manny, I know this is against the rules. He starts yelling at the president. He said, "Hey, you trying to play me or something?" He tell her like, "Hey, you making the block hot. I got a job to do here." feel like if the president tell you you gotta chill, you gotta chill. So who wins there, Tony? If the president tell you to stand down, do you stand down, or are you the Secret Service first, and the president will have to deal with it?
Secret Service supposed to take control, like Donald Trump. I can go back to stuff and tell you, Donald Trump, the situation with him, Secret Service would have got fired pretty much, because the whole thing is he ain't supposed to be ducking his head up, putting letting everybody see him, because he's still. They don't know if that's the only shooter. He's still in harm's way. They didn't do their job. So when in a situation like that, Secret Service has control, total control. And if the president don't conform, they have the right to throw him down and throw him in the car.
Yeah. It sounds like he was really close to doing that. If he hadn't got shot, I think he probably would have tackled her.
Yeah, he would have thrown her over his shoulder.
Yeah. They have the right. They, in a situation like that, they have the right of way, not her.
So Elena, and the prime minister, they are the ones who get out in the Beast, and they're able to get more intel out, so that people are starting to find out that this is, this is a hostage situation. This is deep fake technology. So you got two competing things out there. You got some things that's like, oh yeah, we saw the leak footage that's deep fake. It might be deep fake. Y'all saying that, but we see with our eyes the world leaders are plotting against us, conspiring against us, and stealing our money. But then y'all are telling us, no, that's fake. Don't believe what you. So it's kind of like, Mario, who you gonna believe, me or your lying eyes?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's that whole nod and wink to what's going on. It's like he said it, the bad guy said it. He's like, who cares if it's misinformation? It's spreading. People just need to believe it. And because when, like Dad said, when they both get in the room together, she said the people won't believe it. He was like, they will believe it, or just at least enough people will believe it. And it just makes you sad, because like he's right. Misinformation travels faster than facts, and that's been proven over the last 10 years or so. So like,
once again, see my favorite person, Donald Trump.
Yes, exactly.
Misinformation. When you see misinformation in the dictionary, there's a picture of him there.
Exactly. So it was just like it was so that back and forth between the two of them was like the bread and butter of the movie. It's and I mean, for some people it might feel like, oh, it's browbeating or whatever, it's over the top, but it's the truth. And I like that the evil guy was like evil, you know what I'm saying? It was no like not redemption or anything like redeeming of him. He showed his true colors at the end there. He did not care. He could pretend like he cared about the global economy or people, or it being in the people's hands, but all he really cared about was making money,
And the connection that I was talking about earlier is they were in the same platoon.
Fallujah.
When she saved the child or whatever, I think it was a child she saved.
Yeah, she did, a little boy.
He said he was in the Humvee ahead of her that got hit by it got hit by unexploded device and stuff, and one of his friends got killed or something to that effect. So you kind of saw, and he kept calling her fake and everything. So you kind of saw that connection there. He not only wanted to do this, he wanted to do this to her because he had some kind of disdain for her,
Yeah, and trying to discredit this black lady, tell his oldest time.
Exactly.
And Chappelle, we got throughout the movie, Danielle, Viola Davis's character, like slowly talking about what happened, because she essentially becomes president because when she's in Fallujah, she pulls this little boy out of the rubble of a building. There happens to be like a Time photographer there who takes the picture, and she ends up on the cover of Time magazine. And then from that point on, she's basically like, that people are like, you should run for president. And then she ends up as president, when before that wasn't really her goal. But she said once she was there, she wanted to make a difference and make a better place for people.
But it seems like that story, you know, is one of those things that it's like it's sensationalized, right? Like it really happened. But and so she gets kind of personified as a war hero. You know, she's got the bad leg, and you know, she's got like the picture, and the picture is awesome. Like you look at the picture, it's like, oh yeah, they did that. And so with that, she has like this level, this like grandiosity about herself. Like, oh, she's larger than life. She did this. And to be fair, everything we saw in this movie, yeah, she earned that, you know. But her actual actions during wartime, that was it. That was all she did. She says she was barely there. She said at first it was peaceful, and then by the time she got there, that happened. And then she takes the baby, and she never has to go back to war. So it's kind of like that's her experience. And so there are people who probably resent her because they know the story and they're like, you didn't really do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like this man is looking at her like, I was there. You weren't in the trenches, Tony. That's how it came off to me.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it came across as. And you get to be president. Now I'm a criminal. You know, so that's how it came across. And you could see that with the conversation they were having and everything. And the funny thing about that too is before the last 15, 20 years, almost all our president had some kind of military service.
Yeah.
Now that don't happen too much anymore. So I thought that was realistic that you could find a woman that served in the military could become president. Because that's one thing. What I found out, I don't care what kind of room I'm in. I can be in a room with a bunch of hillbillies and Ku Klux Klan. Once they find out that I served in the military, they kind of stand up straight a little bit, you know. But it soon go away because they say,
just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah. So I can see how it happened.
And we even talked about it when we talked about surviving Black Hawk Down and the Battle of Mogadishu, how they said at the very end of that documentary, the guys would go to like their bars, wherever the vets would hang out, and they would see other men say like, yeah, I was there. And the actual survivors were like, no, you weren't there because
exactly.
You don't know what we survived.
So, that happens a lot in the military. I happily tell everybody I've never been in a real war situation. Never. I went to war zones, and I went with the Secretary of the Air Force, and we were heavily guarded. So I never had to carry a gun or nothing. So
okay, because I didn't been to a VFW or 3, and because they got good bars, and I've heard some stories, and every VFW I've walked into had Captain America sitting at the counter. So
exactly,
very that
exactly.
So while this is happening, the side mission is still her kids. Serena is one of the, I guess she's one of the main characters here as well, because her whole thing is that she had escaped from the White House at the very beginning of the movie. She was taken by the secret agents, and you know she's kind of like in a rebellious teenage phase, but she's kind of a tech whiz too, and so she's doing a lot to assist with this mission to get these people out of the fortress, but also to get the reinforcements inside. So she's helping, you know, get the network going, and they're cutting the lights and all this other stuff to give them a fighting chance, and to get the people inside with the guns who can actually shut this down. But we end up seeing Viola Davis finally gets face to face with her ops here, and she's in the room with her husband tied up, and with the Secretary of Treasury. Now, Martin. Martin. We saw her at the beginning of the movie. This woman is Elizabeth Marvel, Joanna Worth in the movie. And in the beginning of the movie, we are told, hey, I ran for president too. We ran against each other. You threw some smear campaigns at me. I won though, but now we best friends. And I was like, she did it. And immediately I said, she did it. Mari, were you surprised by this at all?
Not at all.
That's the one part of the show that I wasn't surprised about. First, you ran against me. We were enemies, and now you the Treasury Secretary. And what are we dealing with? Money.
Money.
know?
Yup.
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew it. I said, oh, so y'all best friends now. Oh, okay. The whole movie. And here's the thing. She gets announced at the very beginning, like, the people coming with me to Africa are my husband and my treasury secretary. And so I'm like, okay. And then we get a couple lines from her. There's about 50 minutes of the movie where she don't say nothing. She don't get a line. We don't see her. She's just in there, just tied up quietly. And I'm thinking, it's her. She did it. She's the lead. Mari, we found the culprit.
Yeah.
It was
they actually did a good job of actually signaling it too in small little ways. Like when she's picked and grabbed to come into the room with the husband, he's like he's before that they're all like cowering, like all of the leaders are cowering. The husband's right next to her, and he looks at her like, you're not scared enough for my liking. Kind of like Anthony Anderson gives her a look like, and then they get taken into the room. Yeah, and then before she's revealed, he when him and Viola Davis, when Homelander and Viola Davis are fighting, his little digital wallet falls and she picks it up. We see this, and then we see Viola Davis like notice it before she like gets punched, and then it's, you know, Viola Davis is like, it's you, and she's like, you took my spot. Like, okay, I knew it. This is the moral of the story.
The classic line.
Yeah, you're stealing our jobs.
She was like, I have been prepping to become president my whole entire life, and then you just walk in with your little photo and you take my spot.
Yeah. You turn my white job into a black job.
Right. And in my notes, all I got is shoot her. Shoot that lady. That's the one. See, that's the other part of protocol I don't like. In these movies, the president, like this lady is she is a menace to society. She is also a threat to Homeland Security and the world. There are world leaders who have been murdered because of the actions of this lady.
Literally.
We can't shoot her. Tony, can we shoot the lady? Look, she slapped her, but I just feel like this should give me reason. Like, this ain't the stand your ground law or nothing. I can't just shoot the lady.
No. She needed to be shot though, really.
Yeah, shoot her in the knee.
They're not gonna do it though. No.
Yeah. So she
process, but if we stay around long enough, if Donald Trump stay around long enough, you might see due process go, and the next person like this will get shot on the spot. You know, against El Salvador won. You know,
it probably determined. Probably they got that little Mar, you know, the meme where it's like they hold it up, like shoot him and then arrest him. Like, like the color scheme,
the color shift.
Yeah. So. We found our bad guy. She beats up a Homelander. He gets away and he gets to the roof. He's got to the helicopter pad, and he has the first daughter, with him because he's going to escape and hold her hostage. Unfortunately, he doesn't realize that Danielle, the president, has the wallet, and so now he's torn between. I think they were up to $150 billion. That wallet. Look, at that point, you gotta shoot everybody because $150 billion. That's a lot.
You said shoot everybody.
$150 billion, $150 billion. That's not regular money. That's $150 billion. I'm about to get about 12 beasts. Okay, I'm gonna give me a White House. Like, I'm gonna give you.
You gotta get everything.
Yeah. So we get the cool fight scene on the helicopter. We know she ends up winning the fight. Essentially, he falls to his death. The grip strength on this family, though, they're constantly hanging out of windows and dangling off of ledges. And then all the reinforcements come and they pull the entire helicopter. Okay, not it'd be too much to just go and grab the women. No. They have to save the chopper too. But that's it. We win. We save the day. We solve world hunger. Mari, is that what happened here?
I don't know. I was kind of like put on pause, I think.
That was on pause. World hunger was not solved that night for sure.
Yeah, people went to sleep at that point, but she was able to be the president and have a family and solve world hunger. Black girl magic, you know.
and she had a secret weapon that everybody underestimated or didn't know about. Her daughter. You
Yeah.
know,
That's
he
how-
kidnapped the wrong one. That's what he did.
Exactly.
He kidnapped the wrong one.
Exactly. So that Mari, that's the movie.
Yeah. Good.
So yeah, that's the movie. What do you think? What do you think? We could see a G20 sequel, G22.
I mean, how did Die Hard? How is there a Die Hard? I don't. I bet
You wouldn't Die Hard.
I didn't watch it. I don't. So I don't know. Maybe I would love to see.
I
Maybe
can't see another one. I can't see
Another
another.
one.
It wouldn't be
president-
called. It wouldn't be called G20.
Yeah.
It might
G22.
be.
G21.
It might be called State of the Union. They
What-
get
Yeah.
they take all the congressmen and senators and the president, where that's the one time they're all in the same place, and the Supreme Court justices. Everybody's in the same place. That's one time.
Yeah.
That would be action there.
What
Yeah.
about like the G8? Isn't there like another like
G7?
G7.
G7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't go from 20 to 7. Well, that's not big enough. I feel like once you get 20, you kind of have to. Okay, we gotta upgrade this a little bit. Tony, could you see Viola Davis in more action roles? Is this her new lane?
I don't think it's her new lane. I just think it's another lane for her.
Mm-hmm.
She's too good in dramatic roles and stuff.
Yeah.
They made it believable in this show. They made it believable. Well, she did a real good job in what was the name of that show? The African Woman King.
Oh, the Woman King.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
Oh
an
my
action
God,
role
the
for sure.
Woman King
Yeah,
is so
yeah, she
good.
did a real good
Yeah.
job there too. So she's proven that she can do action shows. She's proven that.
Mhm.
So
the Woman King. I gotta watch
Yeah.
that again. That was good.
yeah,
Yeah,
the Woman
they-
King she was really good in that. And so this was action nonstop, kind of like that too. So so yeah, I can see her doing another one. I just think it's another lane. I don't think it's her lane.
Yeah, you know, Mari, they were comparing her for a long time to Meryl Streep. And I would argue that I could not see Meryl Streep doing
No.
anything like this. Like if you told me this was going to be a Meryl Streep movie, I'd be like, you're wrong. Actually, that did not happen. So
Right.
I just don't think she has the same range as Viola Davis.
There's not too many women. There's not too many women actress that I know. Zoe, what's her name? Zoe.
No.
Saldana.
Saldana. She's in a lot of action movies.
That's true.
What else? Who else? Who else could do this?
In action movies? Well, I mean,
what else? What
women
else?
doing
Black
good?
actress?
Yeah, black actress. Oh, Lupita. Lupita could have did this. Give Lupita her
Lupita.
things.
Yeah,
Lupita Nyong'o, she could have done this.
yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah, she could have did it.
Mari, I don't know who
Yeah.
else could have done this.
No,
though.
I
You know,
know.
I think-
Because Guy Gadot thinks she can do this, but she can't do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, she can't.
So I think that
Yeah.
I think whoever the show director is and whoever picked the talent did a great job. You know.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
So-
and Anthony Anderson was a great co-star for her.
I like it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then-
it's because he and I'm not gonna say he dummied down or nothing like that, but he kind of didn't take over the show, you know.
Mhm.
Didn't try to take over the show. He
It was
kind of
the
knew his
perfect
role.
support.
He kind of knew his role and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a good show. It's a good movie. I
Yeah.
liked it. I enjoyed it, and I will be recommending it to people. Mari, before we wrap up, you know what's coming out this week? Sinners. Sinners
yeah.
the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We gotta
Yeah.
go watch it. I've seen nothing but rave reviews. I'm talking about
I know.
I
100%
saw so many
Rotten Tomatoes.
I saw so many good reviews. I thought it dropped last week. So I was sitting there trying to buy my Showtime tickets. I was like, it must be out. It still ain't out. It dropped this Thursday, or I guess it'll drop after this podcast for sure. But
Yeah.
hopefully we can check out Sinners. Maybe Mari, I don't know how hard it's gonna be for you to get to the movies, or if we can find a little something online. You know what I'm saying? If you're listening to this and you got the plug, then drop it in the comments. Matter of fact, don't put it in the comments. They're gonna find it.
Yeah.
Email me. recapkickback
There
at
you go.
gmail.com and let us
Yeah.
know. You know, I'm sure they'll make plenty of money. They don't need our little $25. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
if we can get
Yeah.
that watch, Mari, we got to talk about it.
I know. I'm trying to think who will watch these kids so we can go and see the movie.
Because you don't want to take them to a scary movie, that's for sure.
Oh no, JJ not having that one, not at
No.
all. But yes, this has been so much fun. This was a great episode.
Yes.
This is
Tony,
very fun.
you gotta find a reason to come back.
Okay. Just tell me when, and I'll make time to come. We normally record on Tuesday also, so we put our recording off to tomorrow, so we good.
Okay, we
Okay,
can
we
be
appreciate
flexible.
that.
I
Yeah.
say we can be flexible for you next time, but Mari is really she the holdout. Okay, I can record
Yeah,
any day.
yeah.
We can be
Like I
flexible
said,
next
like
time.
Yeah.
I'm the retired one. I can change minds anytime I want to. So yeah,
Okay.
and,
Okay.
Flexible.
and my
Mhm.
co-host and everything, he's really good about that too. So we're good.
Okay. And what's coming up next on y'all's podcast?
Okay, so like I said, subscribe to at Gents Making Sense on YouTube, on X, which I'm trying to get my partner to get us off X. I don't like X. It's
Mhm.
Not
Gents
great.
MS on X.
Mm,
So our next episode this week is about black kids not choosing not to go to 4-year colleges. Why they're not going, and the reason and why, and especially now. So I think it's gonna be
Yeah,
pretty good. We got a lot of good information.
I saw that they said the enrollment for Black men is down.
Yeah,
the
and
enrollment for everybody is down.
that's the
That's what I'm saying.
enrollment for everybody's down, but we on our show we just tend to deal with black issues because we made
Mhm.
up our mind that we're tired of taking up everybody else's causes.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
when it comes time to vote, they vote for Donald Trump or somebody.
Mhm.
It's
It
Yeah.
like
used to happen.
we're taking up your causes, but then you go vote for him. So
Hmm.
we've come to the understanding that I'm tired. We're tired of taking everybody else's causes. We gotta take up our cause first. It's just like in the airplane. You gotta save yourself first, get the oxygen mask
Hmm.
first before you get somebody else. So that's what we're looking at right now. So yeah, it's down everywhere, but it's really down with in the black community and really bad with black men. So yeah.
Mhm.
So
All
we're
right.
gonna
And
kind of dive into it as much as we can in an hour show, you know.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll be
Awesome.
checking that out. Mari,
Mhm.
what else you
For sure.
got going on in your world?
Of course, over on Crime Scene, me and Sarah Canning bring true crime to you. We what did we do? Well, coming up, we are covering this kidfluencer
Ooh, I saw that on. Is that on
on
Netflix?
Netflix. Yeah,
Yeah, I
on
saw that.
Netflix. TikTok Nicole will be back with us. It's like the trifecta. We've been covering like social media influencing crimes like for the last few weeks. So this is kind of like the trifecta. We did the dark side of like family vlogging. We did the family vlogger who was like abusing her kids, and now we're doing like the dark side of kidfluencing. So that's coming up this week. It'll drop after this drops. And we just previously talked with SDB for her 14th appearance. So Chappelle, if you're trying to
Hey,
catch
I could have
up.
came on for Con Mom. Y'all just didn't call me.
um
Okay.
mhm.
No, I want after you get through, I want to give you another plug. I'll be remiss if
Ooh.
I didn't say this. I'm sorry,
Okay. All right, no
but
problem.
yeah,
Uh so
once
I'm
you're
almost done.
done, after.
So SDB came on to talk to us about Gone Girls, the Long Island serial killer docu series on Netflix. I mean, go and check it out. That's available right now. Me, Sarah, and Sarah, also known as
Mhm.
SDB, had differing opinions on it, just on the base of like our levels of knowledge of the case. The case is the Long Island serial killer, where back in 2010s, about 10 bodies, 20 between 2010 and 2011, 10 bodies were found on this strip of like Gilgo Beach in Long Island, and it took until literally last year for them to find and arrest a suspect in the killings. So it breaks down everything from the body discoveries, the police investigation, and them finding the suspect. So it was a really good conversation, that's for sure. You can go to Crime Scene Pod, that's crime SEEN pod.com, or search Crime Scene wherever you get your podcasts, and you can subscribe to us there. subscribing, leaving ratings and reviews. That really helps us. So please go and do that if you can. And of course, you can find me on Blue Sky at Mari Talks Too Much, 2 like the number 2. That's the only place I'm at. So Dad,
Tony, what else you got?
We
yeah,
got,
what
okay,
is
so,
it?
well, I got a new podcast coming that I'm helping to produce and everything.
Okay.
This young lady, Nikki Nuntrust, that's with us. She comes on our show quite a bit, and she's gonna do sort of like a podcast kind of vlog, and the name of it is She's on Fire, and it's moms and business leaders and stuff. She's gonna try to show. She's gonna try to show something that Mari know a lot about, the working woman, how she takes care of her family. She got 2 kids and everything, and going to baseball practice, going to basketball practice, working. She's a real estate agent and everything, and just working that whole magic and stuff. So she wanted to kind of do a vlog / podcast and stuff. So
That sounds fun.
yeah, we're gonna have that come out in the coming weeks and stuff. So
okay, so you got to stay tuned to find out more from Tony. Tony, thank you so much for joining us. This has been so much fun. Of course, you can catch me here on recapkickback.com, but also on the Nothing But Netflix podcast, talking about Netflix shows and movies all the time. Last week we talked about $1 Million. Well, 2 weeks ago we talked about $1 Million Secret. Last week we did Pop the Balloon Live, and then
another thing. I can't let you blow past that, sir. Yeah. I gotta Pop the Balloon Live on Netflix was trash. It was trash, y'all. Go listen to them talk about it, but it was trash. I made my dad watch it.
Yeah. She made me watch it, and she stayed on the iPhone on the phone.
We were FaceTiming.
Make sure she stayed on FaceTime to make sure I watched it, because I was ready to turn it off.
My little sister in the background,
my wife,
provided very good commentary.
My daughter, she really, my youngest daughter really went in on it, man. She was hilarious.
I definitely had some questions about it myself, like that one lady who was like, I only like black dudes. And I was like, but ma'am, you're never mind. And so that said, check us out on the Nothing But Netflix podcast talking about that. And then, of course, we're going to bring some more Pop the Balloon Live here to Recap Kickback. So Chantel wants to talk about some more. So she's going to be here this week so we can talk about it too. So tune in for that. Gia and I are still covering Abbott Elementary as that season is about to come up to, a whole. Mari, what you got now?
So WrestleMania is this weekend. So
what you gonna do, Mari?
Me and Mascot will be doing live reactions to WrestleMania after each night. Yes, that's what I'm gonna promise to everybody, even though Matt didn't confirm. So after each night of WrestleMania, you can find the Wrestling Kickback live here on Recap Kickback with our live reactions. So that'll probably be at like 11 o'clock at night, but it's fine. We'll push through, and we'll tell you exactly what we think. So come by if you're still up. Talk to us through it with the comments, and we're gonna have fun this week. It's finally here. It's WrestleMania weekend, and we're pumped. So both nights back to back. And book review is coming. So Onyx Storm book review with me and Kirsten McInnes is coming to Recap Kickback as well. Yay!
Look,
I definitely read that by Chappelle.
That and the multiple night WrestleMania. I knew all of that coming into this and more. Yeah, look, check us out. Make sure you subscribe. And last but not least, check me out as well. Talking about various other reality TV topics, such as $1 Million Secret. We have our exit interviews for $1 Million Secret on the Nothing But Netflix podcast this week too. So check that out on the RHAP YouTube page. But for Tony, for Mari, and for myself, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here. It's time. Peace out. We'll talk to y'all next week. Peace.
Yeah.
I've been trapped behind Maria, isolated like it's North Korea. Smaller city with some bigger dreams. The wall is cracked, I'm looking in between it. The world is yours, but man, I gotta see it. They say it's hard, but man, I gotta see it. The air I'm breathing can't feel my chest. Wait on life, I wanna hold my breath. I'ma get in my goddamn self.